Hello guys, what is up and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to present you another new RC car, except with a new suspension. Before I start, quickly, I just want to say, go check out my Twitch, link will be in the description. And yeah, let's get right into it. So, you can see right away that it's not too big. It uses the medium racing wheels. It is remote controlled, with the remote being here. And yeah, so let's first talk about the suspension, which is the main part of this car, in my opinion. So the front suspension is a Tatra type suspension, where as the wheel goes up, it also turns inside, or should I say actually outside. So you can see, when I put it up, the wheel changes its orientation. Same thing with the other one. This is to make, so you can see when it goes up and down, it's not the best. When it goes side to side, the wheels stay always perpendicular to the ground, which is a good feature of the Tatra type suspension. Now, what is really cool about this car, though, is the back suspension. Now, the back suspension is something I totally invented myself. I don't know if this has ever been done before, and I'm probably not going to take credit for it either because I don't know if it's done before. But the thing in the suspension is that it keeps the wheels perpendicular to the ground at all times, no matter how you put the suspension. So you can see I can go up and down, fine, and I can go side to side. And as you can see, these parts right here, they can move. That's basically the basics of the suspension. So you can see how the wheel initially starts in a really inside position, but it can move like this, where it can go from inside all the way to outside. This lets it freely, when on put here, freely change its orientation to the ground, always keeping a perpendicular angle and maximum traction. You can see I have some stabilizers here connected to the top and to the bottom. You can see it from this side better, and also an elastic. So the stabilizers are there to keep it from moving forward and backwards, because this suspension is really not rigid in terms of moving forwards and backwards. So you can see that if I remove these, which I'm going to do here, you can see it can wobble pretty well. So I decided to put those in there to keep that from wobbling. So let's put those back, and there you go. So now you can see it doesn't move back and forth as much, and you can still use the functions of the suspension well. You can see the spring here, the yellow spring, is attached to the top piece, which is very important because the bottom piece is the one that moves here. So I wouldn't be able to attach this to the bottom one or make the top one movable. But it does work, so it's fine. Now the elastic, here and here you can see it, is actually there to keep the wheel going back in this position, because when I was testing it with driving, the wheel always had a tendency to go out like this to its maximum out value every single time. So I put that elastic in place, and it keeps it pretty well. Now, at the time of making this car, I did not have the front version of this suspension, but I did build it after, and as the time of recording this, I actually do have the front version of it, which is right here. This is one of the best suspensions I have ever made, and let's just say it's really practical. So you can see I have around the same concept here, where the under part of the suspension can move back and forth freely. This time I don't have an elastic because this suspension doesn't have a problem with that, or at least I didn't test it on the car while it drives on an RC car, and I'm probably not going to do that, to be honest. So I didn't put the elastic, but it does work in free play. So you can see it has differential, so it has drive. You can see like this better maybe. You can see the differential spinning, everything's happening, and it also has steering, which is right here. Now, the steering was very hard to implement, and I had to do some crazy shenanigans to do that, but otherwise it's fine. But the main part is, of course, you can see I can put it up and down, which it goes really nicely. And I can do this, and the wheels stay more or less perpendicular to the ground, just like in the back suspension of my car. Now, you can see I used these connections here, which led for a freely moving wheel. Same thing on the back suspension on the car. The only problem with these is I cannot put anything here. Usually there would be some sort of piece that would hold these together, something like one of these guys, which would go in here and hold these two together, but I can't do that simply because of the reason that this moves, which is unfortunate, but that's alright. So let's get back to the car. Here it is. Let's talk about the electrical stuff. You can see these two motors go into 1-to-1 ratio because a 3-to-1 ratio was way too quick, so I did 1-to-1 because it's a 4x4. So this way it's slower, but at least it's pull. It can pull well. And 2 differentials on each axle. And then 1 motor for servo, which is right here, and the battery pack. You can see there's a bunch of empty space in the body of the car, which I'm not a really big fan of, but I couldn't really lower the battery pack because of this piece holding the whole body rigid and in place. So let's go test it out, shall we? So we are here at the testing chamber, which I like to call it. It's just downstairs, really nothing much. So here's the remote again. You can see I made a simple linkage for the right steer and left steer, which you can see here on the car. And here's the drive. So now, sorry, the video is a bit bad quality. So I can't really do much about that. I don't have a good camera. So usually I like to just press the suspension a bunch of times before actually driving it so the back suspension sits into place. And now you can see that when I drive, the wheels stay pretty nicely. Now, how will I be able to test this? Let's see, I need to add my foot. Yeah, that's a great idea. There you go. You can see it drives over obstacles fine, which is why I put the 1-to-1 gear reduction instead of 3-to-1. So yeah, let's drive it around more a bit. Alright, so you can see it had a bit of troubles on the corners because of the way the front suspension is, but that always happens, so it's totally fine. So yeah, let me return back to upstairs and that'll be the end of the video. Alright, we are back here. So yeah, that was that. That was pretty nice, I guess. So yeah, not really much else I can say. Thank you guys for watching. Again, check out the Twitch, my Twitch. Link will be in the description. Play some games, so you should definitely come around. Yeah, I hope you guys had fun watching this video, and I hope you guys, I hope you guys come next time to my next vid.